Somewhere on Hollow Earth is where the movie opens. Kong appears to be fleeing away from warthog-like creatures before reaching a precipice. After luring the animals into his trap, the enormous ape tears one of them in two, forcing the rest to flee as the other one plummets to its death. Kong discovers that he is unable to eat because of an infected tooth when he attempts to feast on his kill. Then he hears a loud roaring sound, which he takes to be coming from another ape, but turns out to be a frog-like creature. Kong then gives in to his loneliness. In order to keep Godzilla and Kong apart, Dr. Eileen Andrews, Rebecca Hall, has been collaborating with Monarch. Godzilla keeps his hegemony over other monsters by destroying them whenever they pose a threat. Godzilla charges his atomic breath, sends it down Scylla's throat, and then makes the Colosseum his new bed while the monster Scylla is wreaking havoc in Rome. Researchers at an outpost facility in Hollow Earth start to notice unusual energy readings emanating from Kong's domain, which results in the sinkhole where Kong killed the warthogs. Director Hampton of the Monarch, Eileen's co-worker, informs her of the facts. Rachel House, Gia Kaylee Hoddle, who is enrolled in public school for the first time, has been adopted by Eileen in the meantime. Gia is seeing visions of the Titans, and she inadvertently draws pictures that resemble the energy readings that Monarch has picked up on. Gia confides in Eileen that she doesn't feel at home in this new environment. Later, an unidentified Titan destroys the outpost facility. In order to get Bernie Hayes, Brian Tyree Henry, to assist her in deciphering the meaning behind Gia's visions, Eileen makes the trip to Miami. As long as he gets to accompany her into Hollow Earth, he'll assist. There's another energy spike that even Godzilla can feel. He heads out of Rome in the direction of the source. Kong appears out of Hollow Earth at the same moment as Gia and Eileen, revealing to them his decaying teeth. Eileen gets in touch with Trapper, a Monarch veterinarian played by Dan Stevens, an old friend. He extracts the tooth with a sizable portion of his technology and gives Kong a metallic substitute. Bernie then informs Eileen that he has picked up a distress signal coming from Hollow Earth. On his way back down, Eileen, Bernie, Trapper, Gia, and a pilot named Michael, Alex Ferns, begin after Kong. Godzilla travels to a nuclear power facility in France, where he begins to refuel by absorbing radiation. As the jets attempt to fire him down, Godzilla swats them like flies. Then Hampton notices that Godzilla is moving toward Tiamat, another Titan that is situated at the North Pole. The scientists deduce that Godzilla will gain power if he destroys Tiamat. When the Hollow Earth team discovers the Monarch outpost, it has been destroyed and the researchers have perished. Above them, they see a bloody paw print on the stone walls that Trapper claims is intended to be a call to arms. In another place, Kong discovers the sinkhole and enters an underground world. He keeps moving forward with his axes until he spots another figure. To his surprise, it turns out to be Suko, a smaller ape. Suko bites Kong and calls for 3 other apes to attack him when Kong tries to approach her amicably. Before Kong can break free from the other apes' hold and begin beating them up, even using Suko as a club to murder one of them nearly kills Kong with his axes. When an additional ape is about to tumble down a cliff, Kong intervenes to save him, but the unappreciative ape tries to knife Kong, forcing Kong to stomp the ape to death. Kong has Suko lead the 3rd ape as he flees. The crew takes to the skies once more, but their ship crashes due to an additional energy surge. Michael tries to lead when Trapper and Bernie feel danger, but he gets eaten by a tree creature. The others flee until they reach the remains of an ancient Moffer-focused temple. Gia opens a portal, guiding them into the underground world through a barrier of safety. When Suko takes Kong to a watering hole, a massive serpent creature appears and tries to subdue Kong. Kong retaliates, turning the serpent into a headless mess with his axes. Kong consumes the remnants of the serpent, even giving some to Suko, who is still shocked even after having tricked Kong into falling into a trap. Godzilla's journey is followed by Monarch till he arrives to Tiamat. Awakened from her sleep, the Undersea Titan engages Godzilla in combat. Tiamat tries to wrap herself around him, but Godzilla transforms her into sushi, absorbs her radioactive energy, and goes back underwater to prepare. Warriors from the Iwi tribe come across the team and immediately identify Gia as one of their own. Gia is brought forward by the tribe's leader, who telepathically talks with her. When their hands come together, they are able to communicate Gia's own experiences and the visions and flashbacks of the Iwi tribe. It dawns on Eileen that the Iwi were the source of the distress signal they received. As the crew is led deeper into the Iwi's temple, Eileen interprets their past for them. The great apes once served as humanity's defenders, but in a conflict with Godzilla and his race, a merciless commander by the name of Scar King rallied an army of apes to try and conquer the surface world. In order to keep the Scar King and his army from leaving Hollow Earth, the powerful dinosaur intervened and imprisoned them there. There is also a belief that Mothra would reawaken through a direct descendant of the Iwi, known as Gia. To Kong's utter surprise, Zuko leads Kong to the location of the other great apes. Scar King forces them to perform arduous labor. Kong witnesses one of Scar King's goons provoking a different ape. The enforcer tries to get in Kong's face as Kong intervenes, but Kong's sucker punches him and knocks him down. Then Scar King appears to greet Kong, making fun of him and the other apes for having a metal tooth. When Scar King tries to attack Zuko, the remaining apes from the previous attack, the ones that went after Kong, stand up for Zuko. Scar King responds by kicking the monkey into a lava hole, sending Zuko into a fit of misery. Scar King uses a whip fashioned from the spine of another Titan in his combat with Kong. When Kong is on the verge of defeating Scar King, the wicked ape unleashes his secret weapon, Shimo, an ice titan that Scar King controls with a crystal that hurts Eileen and is believed to have caused the last ice age. Kong tries to block the blast with his axes when he has Shimo breathe ice toward him, but it is strong enough to cover Kong's arm in ice, causing frostbite and weakening him. A few of Scar King's apes follow Kong as he begins to run, but he leads them into one of their traps, killing all bar the ape he punched out for using another ape as a shield from falling boulders. Gia is reunited with her own people after spending more time with the Iwi crew. While Eileen informs Trapper that she only wants what is best for Gia, Bernie attempts to record his observations. The wounded Kong is then brought to them by Zuko, and the Iwi then lift the veil to reveal their reality. They find him in poor condition after seeing his arm. Kong signals to Gia that he has lost his house with regret. The best thing for Kong, according to Trapper, is some technology from his Operation Powerhouse project, which was abandoned in an attempt to augment Kong in the case of a big Titan invasion. Kong regains strength and movement after Trapper finds the beast glove at the wrecked Monarch outpost and puts it on his arm. The others are aware that venturing onto Godzilla's territory could have fatal implications, but he nevertheless begins to head out to the surface world to attract his attention. Concurrently, Scar King guides the other apes toward their victory while riding Shimo. Tiamat's strength fully charges Godzilla, making his dorsal plates to shine a vivid pink as he reawakens. Godzilla hears Kong's roar in Gibraltar and crosses over, while Kong joins the surface world through a portal in Cairo. Big G is not happy to see Kong again, so he comes at him even though Kong tries to persuade Godzilla to join him because the monsters can talk to each other. However, Big G tackles Kong as they engage in another intense battle, which ultimately results in the destruction of the pyramids. Kong strikes Godzilla several times with his new glove. The Iwi performed their ceremony with Gia down in Hollow Earth, bringing about Mothra's rebirth. In an attempt to break up the conflict, she comes to the surface. Godzilla is taken aback to see his former comrade again, and he is moved to put aside his disagreement with Kong in order to unite with Kong as they both roar together. As Scar King and his army get near, the humans devise a scheme to employ Iwi technology to create a gravity surge, causing their crystals to respond in a way that will temporarily prevent the wicked Titans from fleeing. Shimo is ordered by Scar King to freeze and shatter the curtain in order to allow him inside. Then Godzilla and Kong charge into combat together, jumping for the ultimate monster smackdown against Shimo and Scar King, respectively. As Scar King's enforcer tries to enter, the two apes and two lizards duck out of the way as the surge begins. Suko then enters the fray and sends the treacherous ape flying to his death. When people attempt to fly to safety, Mothra defends them. The 4 primary Titans then descend via the surface world portal. After all, the Titans wind up on a beach in Rio de Janeiro, frightening away the other guests. Then Scar King unleashes Shimo's ice powers on the Earth, causing multiple buildings to freeze and shooting an ice blast into the sky. Kong manages to land a couple more blows on Scar King, but Shimo makes it difficult for Kong to win. Godzilla charges his atomic breath towards Scar King, who avoids the blast but loses the crystal that Godzilla took off his whip. Suko uses Kong's axes to break through the portal and enter the battle, freeing Shimo from Scar King's influence and shattering the crystal as the Titans attempt to reach it. Kong throws the bad ape at Godzilla, who, lacking his ultimate weapon, whips him back towards Kong with his tail, akin to a volleyball. Then, as Shimo turns against her former boss and freezes him into an upscale, he raises Scar King into the air. Then Kong smashes Scar King into a million fragments. Godzilla restores normalcy by using his breath to reverse the effects of the ice blast. Godzilla rests again at the Colosseum in the aftermath. Mothra fixes Hollow Earth's veil. Gia gives Eileen the impression that she is prepared to go and join the Aoi tribe. But Gia assures Eileen that she will travel with her wherever they go. After that, the two split up with Bernie and Trapper. Kong makes his way back to the Great Apes with Suko and Shimo, the latter of whom is receiving considerably better treatment as a result of Kong. The other apes admire him when he comes before them as their new king, and roars loudly while brandishing his axes in the air.